Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich, and today I'm coming to you with some Steel Division Normandy 44. There is no Wrangler today, so folks, you have to bear with me if I miss a couple of things going on here. But facing off on Odon, it is going to be Ura Comrades playing as the 3rd Canadian Infantry, facing off from Russia with love with the 3rd Fallschirm. Now, as might be expected, we kind of already know how the 3rd Fallschirm is going to be set on up. Early on, we are going to see tons and tons of good infantry here, and tons of excellently qualified infantry. So now, I realize that my construction of that sentence might be a little bit confusing, so let's just back it up for a moment. It's going to be all go and no blow later on. Meanwhile, though, what are we going to be seeing from the Canadians? Well, Canadians do have themselves a fair chunk of infantry setting on up here on the northern side. They have a little bit of firepower early on in the game, being able to call on the Ram 2, as well as some Staghound AA guns. But for the most part, look to see these guys ramp up a little bit later on in the game with Shermans, as well as perhaps a Firefly, maybe even a Wolverine or two in Phase C. And I can't help but feel that's going to kind of typify this particular match, is that early on, the 3rd Fallschirm is going to have tons and tons of good opportunities here to just take sections of the map, especially along all these forested lines, while the 3rd Canadian has a little bit of trouble kind of breaking on into them. Now, taking a look at the decks of both of these guys, first of all, interestingly enough, for the Canadians, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scouts, which is awesome for me. That's fantastic. I love to see that. His only non-scout troops, well, these Humbers that you see down at the southern side, there's only going to be 3 of them in the deck. And then north, we'll see some really good, hopefully, sniper play, as well as it looks like a Staghound AA gun, very, like I said, early on. It just got a couple M2HBs and that 1919 on top of it. Now, from the German side of things, well, we know, like we said it before, we know what we're going to be seeing out of this one. And taking a look at his deck, well, very early on, we're going to see either Pupchins or, packs, and taking a look at this right now, it's not going to show us. But as well, we're just going to see tons and tons of front-loaded A infantry. 1, 2, we have 12 Fallschirmjägers in the first phase here, and it looks like, wow, actually an L6 tank as well. So again, these things are like paper-thin armor, and don't expect them to do anything as the game goes forwards. But early on, if there's no AT out over here against them, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of it, we could see some very, very devastating damage inflicted upon the Canadians. With that being said, taking a look at the map itself, of course, Odon does have this lovely little forest right at the middle here, and that forest is going to be kind of determining the tempo of this play. Left side, right side. There's going to be, I would say, maybe a slight advantage on the south to the right side. They can get these kind of, get up into the forested here. And we're kicking on off, though, so let's take a quick look at how things are setting on up. Canadians have been very aggressive, shifting forwards. Germans a little bit less so, got a couple things up near the midline. But Ura Comrades is definitely the gentleman looking to take more than initial positioning here. Now, of those guns, I want to see what they had. I believe those actually might even be the Pupchins. So, with Pupchins, we're going to have the 88mm kind of heat ammo that'll easily penetrate anything that the Canadians are bringing on forwards. But the Canadians themselves do have not really that many vehicles on out here. So, command carrier, big deal. A couple of Staghounds, and that early Humber Mark III with more scouts on the way. I would love to see more of these guys. And nope, Germans going to come under fire initially. This AA gun going to do some good damage, I would think, early on. Nope, an LG40 coming on out from the Germans. There's a lovely little cannon over here. It has decent HE, but really these two things backing each other up could be very, very effective. Down to the southern side, though, it's going to be a big furball as the Humber Mark III is going to come in and blow apart pretty much anything that's down here from the German side of things. Flamethrower going to do some good damage already from Russia with love, finding himself, ooh, never mind, I take that back. The Humber not doing very well, and actually there's assault engineers getting torn to pieces as well. With that, the Germans do have themselves a tentatively decent effect down on the southern side, even though Ura Comrades does have 5149. Up to the northern side, Germans are a little bit more minimally moving forward. The Flammenwerfer trundling on in. Where's he going? Just holding tight in the trees. Another L6 coming out from the northern side as well. Down to the south, the Canadians are getting slaughtered one after another going on down. And with that, I'm surprised the Germans don't actually have that 50% control. Shifting on in as well. Stormtroopers, they were, decent individuals, but nevertheless getting roasted and toasted by that German firepower. We're surprised how quickly that turned south. Center part of the map, not a whole lot going on here. We have, that, of course, that central manor house area, and in the north, a lot of forests. So as the Canadians do tech up a little bit more, I still would not expect to see a lot of good aggression happening here. And this kind of transition back and forth is going to kind of typify the engagement between the 3rd Fallschirmjäger and the 3rd Canadians. Fallschirmjägers do have tons and tons of LMG ammo. And while the Canadians are pretty darn good with that Lee Enfield, they'd be fairly close to do it, and even then they're getting torn to pieces. The firepower from the Germans should be able to do enough damage to push them back. Now, luckily, I would say for the Canadians already, is that they're not really pushing to take the southern side here. The Stormtroopers are quite good, by the way, TNT as well as the smoke grenades. But you gotta get awful close for those. Taking a quick look at the deck, how many Stormtroopers do I even see here? Oddly enough, I don't even see any, so I don't know how they're sneaking on through on this deck. Regardless, both Staghounds seem to have gone down here. Nope, one in the north is fine. So the Humber's down, and as is the Staghound in the middle part of the field. And more that will happen as the L6 just kind of moves on in, as well as some German Recce troops to really be pushing them back, I would think. He's not going to see the Staghound for a bit. This actually could be a beautiful shot here, but he can't quite see them, no. And instead we're going to see a poop train going on down to the north. Canadians bringing in a 6-pounder? Probably a 6-pounder, yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. Turn up the sound a tiny bit. In the meantime, Germans are pretty okay with having this big finger in the Canadian side of things. I would like to see them push out to the south, push into right about here or so. And indeed, we're going to see with that kind of teensy tiny bit of control, that's going to go back to being an advantage for Ura Comrades. Kind of funny for me that both guys have Russian names, really, so to speak. Oh, Scharfschützen are facing off against somebody, but it doesn't look... nope, they're taking shots at these rifles, and with that, the rifles won't be able to do a whole lot. And early on, that's going to typify this particular game. Well, the Canadians don't have anywhere near the kind of firepower they need to penetrate these light tanks that come out from the Germans. And now the Germans bringing on in some more indirect firepower, which would be kind of nice. Another... Poopchin, maybe? No, not Poopchin, excuse me. Another LG40, probably. But we will see. In the meantime, Scharfschützen up into the northern side doing a great job, putting down a good firepower, making those rifles fall back rather quickly. It'd be probably better for them if they were managing to get some shots on these sniper scouts. But you can't complain too much now, can you? In the meantime, Willie's coming on in with some anti-tank, trying to push back these Piats basically inside. I think, yep, there'll be Piats inside of that. So the Piats can get a couple rounds off. They will be able to do a good job against the L6. Meanwhile, up to the northern side, well, Scharfschützen just continued just to pick on one of these dudes here. And Sniper Scouts probably going to engage against the Scharfschützen. Not quite. Alright, never mind. 6-pounder coming on up. The second he gets a shot off at that L6, though, it's going to be terribly bad for them. If the snipers can get one more round off, they can save the L6. No, they don't have to. Fallschirmjäger's doing the damage indeed. And might even be able to take out that L6 as it retreats. No, not quite yet. Regardless, the Germans have found themselves pushed back in the center part of the field. This flamethrower not even doing a whole lot. Fires out 3 bursts of firepower, and that's enough to send the Germans packing. What's going on in another L6? He's coming to the center part of the field, and the Canadians can't push that back. Scharfschützen are still in play, as are the Sniper Scouts, and down in the south, well, this Willie's just going to kind of hop on out here, and I think he's going to start trundling on down to find that L6. Unfortunately for him, the L6 is positioned a little bit further over here to the eastern side of the map. 81mm stovepipe, lit off a couple of rounds. Looks like he's pushed back the Canadians from their kind of tree line here. I'd like to see a little bit more aggression coming out from the Germans. This'll do, I would say. Fallschirmjägers are going to be able to run interference for this Piat, against these Piats, excuse me. Never mind, L6 is going to be in the area now. Stormtroopers coming in as well. This is going to be a dead L6. I can almost predict this one. It would have been nice to see the Flammenwerfer coming forward as well to kind of bake and shake those Sniper Scouts. Piat misses. Reloading, but that guy moves. Not going to be easy. TNT does take out the Fallschirmjägers, though. And that's really the question. Can the Germans get enough territory before all their excellent infantry gets taken apart? And as of right now, I'm not entirely sure about that. They're down 200 tickets, and it's only growing at the 55-45. I think one more shot's going to take out the Flammenwerfer. No, instead he's going to be dealing with the Sharpshooter instead. And there go the Sniper Scouts, so well done there. Ram 2 coming on in? Yep, Ram 2 coming in. And at that point, the Germans are heavily outnumbered. And the Sharpshooters actually have no more ammo as well. So as we go into the ending part of Phase A, Germans are going to find themselves in a bit of a rough position, if I may say so. A couple more squads of infantry to reinforce the north. And it looks like we're going to see a very gutsy deployment down here. Some more Fallschirmjägers charging on in. And taking the central manor house, they're going to completely devastate these rifles out in the open. I'm going to get nice and close on this just to see it go down. Yeah, they're out in the open. So this honestly is a beautiful game. I'm actually kind of upset that more people don't play this particular game. A quick little shameless plug in the meantime. So if you are... Oops, 6-pounder going down. If you have not yet checked it out already, XCOM 2 War of the Chosen has dropped, which means we have some excellent new gameplay coming out. Plus more, we have also seen the starting of a Twitch channel coming out for me. If you haven't checked that out, we do see some PUBG, fairly common, but the flamethrower and the rifles going on down here, giving the Germans this entire pocket back. PUBG, as well as XCOM 2, and I'm thinking about starting some other stuff here and there, maybe some throwback material such as, like, you know, Evil Genius or something. Just come check it out. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet for either channel, it's definitely here. You should go check that one out as well for the Twitch channel. In the meantime, though, we are going to see with 60 seconds left to go before Phase B that the Germans are seeing themselves with very much of a resurgent push here. Sniper Scouts not being seen just yet. But that's going to change fairly quickly. The Fallschirmjägers take some firepower and very quickly should be able to devastate. Nope, maybe not. There we go. Sharpshooter getting the final shot there. Up to the north, that L6 continues to be alive as the Fallschirmjägers just kind of hang on out, waiting for this Ram 2 to get closer to the front lines. Yeah, still out of ammo? Yes, they are. No resupply trucks, I think, for either guys in Phase A. No, never mind. There's a Kubel for 3rd Fallschirmjägers if they want it. Doesn't seem to be the case, though. Now, this Ram 2, this guy, if he is used excellently, which is to say, if he's not pushed up to the front lines, he can devastate everything. But as of right now, he's pushing very, very far forwards here. Fallschirmjäger 4 with the FG42. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Very well machined. Ram 2 blows up the L6, though, and there goes a lot of the German firepower in the north. Center part of the battlefield, well, the 6-pounder is kind of trying to come on in. Not going to see that anti-tank opportunity, though, as Fallschirmjägers are making a rush and might even be able to make it across this river. Yes, they are. They're going to get across the river and pressure the 6-pounder rather easily here. And we're now into Phase B. So taking a look at Phase B, well, we have a 25-pounder that has already been called on in from the Canadians. This is the only one that he had from Phase A here. But that by itself can stop this entire push in its tracks. I'm honestly very interested to see whether or not the Germans can see their Faust getting close enough to take out the Ram 2. Throwing up more infantry to the north. L6 coming around as well. I don't know if he's trying to lure the other tank in, the enemy tank in, because the Poopchin's right there now too. Not going to see a whole lot. And that's the nice thing about this northern flank for the Canadians. The anti-tank guns, you have to really get around this side here, or over here down to the southern tip and push through the trees to get some good LOS. But the middle part of the field has now gone completely in the favor of the Germans, 54-46. More infantry is being rushed on in, but again, let's be fair. Canadian infantry doesn't get much better. Now, stormtroopers, if he calls more stormtroopers in, that might be enough to push them back. But Canadian infantry does not do very well overall. There's that L6 just laying some cover fire down the road. So stormtroopers coming on in. question is, can he take out this Staghound? If so, he can save a lot of his troops here, but his sharpshooter might even get taken on out. And just as I say that, Caster's Curse, there they go. I had to do some Fallschirm. So this German push may have been kind of backstopped by the Staghound AA. He might be able to see him? No. Not quite. And here is, again, where the third Fallschirm already begins to run into trouble. Ooh, I guess we did see a dead ram. And judging by the fact that the only one who has... Oh, wow, no. Nobody's got their stuff any missing. I wonder how he died. Truck. Could not tell you. Sorry, folks. We are going to see a Flammenwerfer moving on in. Maybe it was a surrender. That'd be kind of a inspiring moment there. But no, Germans bringing in some of their anti-airs to the Flak 36s. Nothing too shocking, I would say. Yeah, it's a Flak 36. Come back up to the north. Some more Canadian material being thrown on into the fray, and it's not going to go particularly well. He's going to come on up, get some firepower off, but at this point, L6 can come on in, and he has no fear, really. It's a couple of Shermans that can be called on in by the Canadians. But, wow, 57-43. I didn't even see that just happen right there. Good God, this is a devastating push during Phase B. And there's another Ram 2, so that is... Yeah, I'm seeing an old deck here from the Canadians, because I don't see anything else other than one Ram. Oh, no, he got redeployed to the south. Never mind, that's why. 25-pounder taking out artillery, so very well done actually getting this redeployment up and down the line. I would like to see the LG-40 moving on in, as well as his Pupchin. I mean, the Pupchin is 500 meters, so it's not the greatest range. Let's take a look from, like, right here. He could easily be taking shots if that Ram 2 moves up to the center line. And in the meantime, as well, seeing a 4.5-inch or 4.2-inch mortar coming on out. I don't know what millimeter that might be. 107, jeez. And Fallschirm to the north. Oh, never mind. Doesn't need to worry about that. Pupchin getting some good death and destruction out there. Now, the LW Jaegers. I am not entirely sure what those are, but Faustpatron. I remember the last time we saw Rangu. That was seen for the first time. I love it. I love it. Faustpatron was a very, not going to say ineffective, but it was an early model as far as Panzerfaust really went. It didn't do a lot of damage. I think it penetrated something like 30 millimeters of armor. You have to get super close for it. Third Fallschirm, though, are going to bring in one of their few Stugs into the middle part of this field here. I think it's a Stug 3, it's not a Stug G, so the only one in the deck. Now, if you can get line of sight onto that Ram 2, because the first shot off its potential, he could kill it. That's asking an awful lot. Now, L6 in the meantime, take a look at the Ram 2. You get that 7 armor on the sides and 6 from the rear, so if we can get a push from the L6 behind him, that could also be a dead Ram. But for the moment, he seems to be very, very cautious of moving forwards. ME-109 making a gun run here. Not a whole lot happening. Just looking to suppress an infantry. Not sure why he's using it right there. I would prefer to see it go after that mortar position, or heck, even that 25-pounder in the back. This thing has been doing a good amount of work against the German army for the moment. And the L6, never mind, the L6 gets found out because he starts to engage these rifles. And doing some good damage there. Germans, in the meantime, calling up more infantry in the center line, as well as another anti-tank gun. MB-109 going to the north? Yep, going after the mortar in the north. And we are seeing from Russia with Love does have himself a significant lead now, getting tickets and more of them. Luckily for the Canadians, Germans have not advanced excessively down this road, and really this 4.2 mortar is the only thing keeping the northern flank of the Canadians still remotely in control. What's more, we are going to see a Tripolston coming on in, and this thing looks hideous, but the amount of firepower it puts out is death-defying. See right there, dropping, you know, almost 100 rounds in about 2 or 3 seconds of firepower. L6 does go down. That was a courtesy of... Ooh, man, and the Stug went down as well, courtesy of this ram. 2 shots, 2 kills. It feels like whatever he shoots at, he hits. And now for some reason we're going to see sharpshoots moving on in? I hope not, because that would be really, really bad. Ah, we will see some LG42 laying down some interdictory distance fire here, I dare say, but no stormtroopers coming on in. Doing great damage, and now the southern flank for the Germans is collapsing as 3 different squads go down, almost like that. The stormtroopers are still in the area with some high explosives, so that thing's got to back up right now. Might even get taken out anyway. Yep, we might even see a forced surrender. So pinned down, stormtroopers coming on in, falling back. I think he's going to get caught on out. Sherman 3 being called in as well. Nope, never mind. He escapes just barely with his life. Fallschirm is aligning. Can he get the shot? No, he can't. That would have been a great way to reverse the effect of that tanks right at the center line there, though. Had he been able to do that, the entire southern flank would have been pretty much German again, I would say. And the Fallschirmjägers are not really wanting to shift on forwards, instead contenting themselves with engaging the rifles as they come on through. Getting torn to shreds in the meantime by the interdictory fire from the 4.2-inch mortar. Another Sherman being called into the north, and that's a bit of a problem because the nearest anti-tank is way the heck back here. Pioneers even with their shield, was it Gebauter Ladung? Never mind. Gebauter Ladung. Still nowhere near what they need to be. And Opel Blitzes might even get taken on out between the Tripolston and the Sherman. They gotta get out right now. And there it goes. Never mind, that guy is dead. He's cooked. Sherman coming to the north. Yes, he is. And the Jaegers are trying to get themselves a beautiful little shot. Sherman coming back the other direction. Guys, this could be the Faustpatron doing God's work here. And that's God's work right there, my friends. The Faustpatron gets the Sherman 3. More infantry is coming on in, but it could be just enough time for him to come on in, take out this 4.2 mortar. But the Tripolston's still in the area as well, so I would not hold my breath too much there. Phase C happening in about 60 seconds, 55 as we speak. And at long last, a couple munitions truck coming on in to reload this 81mm. Ram 2 in the meantime can't get anywhere close to this, unfortunately for him. And I can't help but feel that if the Germans snuck an infantry squad across the river, bam, that'd be a dead ram. Now, LW Jaegers are going to find themselves getting forced to surrender in here in a second. Yep, there it is. But they did exactly what they needed to do, which was take out that Sherman. And more infantry being thrown back to the middle side of this map. Oh no, coming down to the south, shoring that back up. Sherman 3, having seen what happened to his comrade in the north, is not being too aggressive. He just wants to do some interdictory fire from at range with the M2HBs in the 1919s. And Bedford Supply resupplying this mortar? I think so. Another one resupplying this 25-pounder, who will very, very quickly destroy this LG-42. As the LG kind of trundles out of the way, I think just barely in time. Question is, will the first rounds fall short or will be really, really long? Just barely long. Alrighty. But with that, the Germans are holding a very good position here. I would like to see an LG-42 or two. Heck, even an LG-40 would be kind of nice. Throw it up here, right about here or so. Even in these trees. You control so much in this northern area here. You control the exit from this force. You control down here. These LW Jaegers, in the meantime, though, barely have any LMG ammo by comparison. These guys, 1,800 rounds. These guys are barely 550, so they'll be out of ammo in just a few seconds here. And that is a big part of what keeps the Fallschirmjägers so effective. ME-109 comes on and just takes out a couple of infantry. And in the meantime, though, 1 out of 3 of those trucks are already getting taken to pieces. And the Flak 36 trying to pour fire back at the Spitfire as it dives deep to go after the ME-109. Bit of a meat grinder in the south, I would say. As every time we see any kind of remote push coming on out, the Germans kind of mishandle it, I would think. One more shot. Pulled back and forcing back some more material there. Henkel, okay, Henkel comes out in perfect time here. Making some gun runs at this Ram too. Not able to kill it, though. Instead, he fires off all of his, was that 36mm, 37mm cannon ammo. Problem with that is that ram has excellent armor from the front, so you have to bring it in from the side and make that kind of oblique run at the enemy vehicle. Believing himself to have an opportunity here, we are going to see the Canadians take a little bit of a push forwards and getting thrown right back. And we are now into Phase C, so the last I know, we should see the Canadians bringing on out a Firefly or two. Heck, we have a couple of dual drive priest distance kind of howitzers here that could be very, very well done. We should not expect to see, though, we should not expect to see that Wolverines that we do see in Ura Comrades deck. I like trying to roll my R's there. I don't always do a good job at it, but I like trying to roll my R's. Typhoon coming on in, making him this center position right here. Storm Pioneers and Fallschirm will find themselves going to be blown to pieces. Yep, there go the Storm Pioneers. Poor guys. And in the meantime, this L6 has been here for most of the game. I'm surprised he survived as long as he has. And two MU-109s making runs after it, realizing they're not going to get that. Instead, they take a lot of firepower from both the Shermans and the Tripolston as it reloads, and just watch that way to fire in a second here. Yep. Back up to the northern side in the meantime, though. This Jaeger has continued to hold on strong. He's actually pushed back been pushed back a little bit, but he survived. That's the important thing right there. And with that, the Germans are still up 53-47. Which is very, very surprising for me to see. Fallschirm Pioneers getting pinned down. Well, while the Germans are quite good with these particular squads, they will get moderately outgunned by rifles, especially by weight of numbers. I want to see another vehicle or two coming out from the Germans. And instead we see some of his last infantry, I would say, deploying to the south. How do I know it's the last infantry? Well, because he keeps throwing more and more into these various positions. Oh god, the L6 is going to go down. There we go. I saw that coming. And in the meantime, so now this last L6 here is the only one left on the map. 1, 2, 3, I think it's the last one on the map here. Fallschirm though, in the meantime, will hold strong against what remains of the stormtroopers and the like. Actually, oh, never mind. Throwing out that explosive. Kaboom. There we go. Blows apart most of the squad. But in the meantime, wow, we actually see the Germans penetrating super deep into the Canadian lines. And I think we're finally seeing from Ura Comrades a desire to really gotta push forward. He's really gotta take back some of this territory. He's not doing particularly well. Indeed, 46-54 is only getting worse and worse for him. Luckily for him, the Storm Pioneers do get pinned down. That could have been a very, very quickly picked up Sherman 3. But for the moment, the Germans are going to see themselves getting thrown back in disarray because there is no AT in this area, and the Sherman 3 is going to just waltz on through. Yeah, that's a lot of death being dealt there. But amusingly, again, for me, is the fact that the Germans still have such a great area over here being taken on out. They're going to begin to fall out, it looks like. Sherman 3 going to pin down. Surprised he's not forced that surrender as well. But no, he has not. I guess that the Fallschirmjäger Führers do have themselves under that morale cover there. But he does go down, and that's going to be a big, big problem. Now, Pupchin, he's out of range. Just barely out of range at that. Wolverine could be prowling on forwards a little bit more, that will find himself getting picked up, but he refuses to take the bait. And with that reversal in the south, well, it is no longer 53-47 for the Germans. Now it's 54-46 for the Canadians. And the Germans are barely holding on to this finger here. If this finger falls, I believe we will see a massive, massive swing in tickets. Mortar for the Germans going down. Pupchin in the meantime, taking some fire from the 25-pounder. And at long last, we will see one of the Stoke G's coming on in. But not going to be... he could hit. Wouldn't be perfect, but he could hit. Okay, now this pack, though, might be able to take out the Sherman 3, and that'd be a very big win. No, first shot going wide. In the meantime, Sherman 3 going back the other direction. Managed to take him out? Nope. Instead, it is the pack that gets that final last laugh. Well done there. And the Fallschirm is going to find himself taking incredible amounts of morale penalty here. Not going to be a pretty sight. What's more, with all that fresh Canadian infantry coming on in, the Germans are more or less in their last legs of infantry. I'd say that they've lost a good chunk of it. And with all their support weapons really coming up short, it's going to be hard for them to really kind of hold on. But the only thing he's got going for him right now is the fact that he's got elite troops which will not surrender at all. Especially when they have this Führer in the area. But yes, indeed, 54-46. Germans refuse to give in, and that's just a credit right there to the training that goes on down. But again, I'd like to see this Pupchin coming on forward just a tiny bit more. He would have been able to take out this Wolverine super quickly. Instead, we just see the German war machine begin to grind to a halt. Another tank, well, sort of. It's that AB41 coming on in. A decent anti-infantry piece, but again, at this late stage in the game, the 3rd Canadian has more than enough AT possible to blow them to smithereens. And for that matter, okay, Kangaroo carriers coming on in, with more infantry, command carriers coming on in. I mean, there's just tons and tons of infantry coming on in for the Canadians. And the Germans just can't keep up with that. In the late game, they got nothing else. Fallschirm, though, in the meantime, I always kind of forget that this is approximately the midline. The Germans did pretty well, really kind of pushing on forwards here. The problem with that is that now they have to kind of really consolidate their position. They're not doing a very good job of it. AB41 engaging the infantry to the south, doing a good job there. Might want to try to take back this Kubelwagen munitions truck here. Stug G is just going to pick on some of this infantry over here as it tries to shuffle on forwards. And the AA gets taken out by the Henkel. Try Pulse in the meantime. Good gosh, that thing still continues to do incredible amounts of potential damage here. ME-109's going after that Spitfire, who realizes it's probably better for me to go back someplace else. Now, we haven't looked at the vision here from either side for the entire game, and it's incredible just to see how it seesaw back and forth. And indeed, ME-109 goes really deep. And it seems that it's going to get probably in a turning fight with the Spitfire. And realizing it's probably better for him to get away. Probably going to go down here, though, taking a lot of smoke. And yep, there he goes. He's down. He's dead. He's never coming back, Jim. On the plus side, it does seem that Ura Comrades is going to maybe, just maybe, even this back out. Of course, this presupposes that his troops don't die like that in the north, as that AB41 calmly picks off one Kangaroo carrier. We find out another one here. Indeed, he's going after the carrier or going after the infantry? It looks like both. Excuse me. No, it's going to be an anti-tank gun. In the meantime, 17-pounder pulls a rabbit out of a hat and takes out that Stug G in the center part of the map. So 52-48. He is still down about 260 tickets. And now the Focke-Wulf comes on in. I don't think he's going to get stressed out. He's going to get super close. No, he doesn't manage to get that bomb off. And that's unfortunate. If he'd taken out that 17-pounder, that would have been a pretty big win, I would think. And now he's just going to buy it. Poor guy. 690 to 945. We are still going to see from Russia up quite a bit. Question is, will there be any sort of penetration in this line for the Canadians to really, really take advantage of? Bombs coming on the Fallschirm Pioneers and take them on out. ME-109, though, gets the, vengeance. The Schwarzenberg is able to take out that Typhoon. I am surprised by the rather minimal amount of tank play that we've seen, but it seems like whenever there's a tank on the field, it gets blown apart by something. Whether it's great positioning to kind of surprise him, or just not really using it to the best of its capability. Opel Blitz slowly getting himself to... Oh, it's an LG, okay. I thought it actually might have been, for some reason, a Pack 40 with the 75mm, but nope, guess not. And instead we see at the end of this, it seems like both guys are kind of like boxers who have nothing else left to throw. They're having at each other, getting us a couple of small victories here and there, but for the most part, it seems very much like both guys are tired, both guys are defeated. LG42 to the north has been completely pinned down. He's been in the fight for about 30 seconds, and the Kangaroo, plus a command carrier, takes him on out instead. We're back to a 50-50 split, and with that, another bombing run coming on in, taken out. No, just really, really abusing this Fallschirm to the south. Excuse me, to the northern side. And there we go. This guy has beautifully, beautifully long range. It's a 105 howitzer for the Germans, and 2,000 meters range. If he gets any shots down on target, well, it's a beautiful amount of damage. Instead, we're going to see the Tripolston going on down. Looks like the L6, I think, took him on out. Yeah, these guys didn't do it. The Sherman 3 is coming back up here from the south to north, so... not sure I'd really want to be the L6 either. At best, they might be able to encourage this guy to surrender, but even then, they got to be awfully close for it. And it's not going to happen. Sturm Pioneers getting carved to pieces as they come across the road. In the meantime, Spitfire, I think, made a gun run to the north. No. Instead, we're going to see ME-109s and Spitfire have a turn fight, and it's not going to happen. Both of them are going to fall back. Good decision there. Don't want to lose either one of those. Fallschirm Pioneers could be able to pick this up, and that could swing things ever so slightly back in the favor of From Russia with Love. But no, he's down 52-48. And the LG is finally firing? Holding fire. Bad idea there. He could fire off those last 3 rounds to get some good damage done as well. Instead, we're just going to see the German territory getting pinched on out, but this kind of extended somehow. Very, very strange. Last armored vehicle? No. More anti-air. The guy's finally allowed to fire. Some material getting pinned on down, but for the more or less, it does seem like we're going to have pretty much a draw coming out from this one. Fallschirm Pioneers not able to get some flaming hot death onto that Sherman. Now, if they come through the orchard right about here, they would have picked it up. They would have washed him in flame, and that thing would have been more than enough. The Unfiatzig would have gotten more than enough damage coming on out. But no, I believe that both sides are just eager to get out of this fight here. I'm going to beef up the sound a tiny bit more. Meantime, what's the guy been firing? He's been looking for that tree line there. Not the greatest of ideas. I imagine these guys might even get picked off by a surrender. Yep. And the Aufklärer are going to get picked off in a couple of seconds as well. There are 2 MP40s doing a little bit of damage, but they are not there to be mainline troops, and indeed, stun guns are decent enough. But yes, 943, 944, 945, and From Russia with Love surrenders there, so minor victory. It did end exactly, pretty much on top of each other here. The NKD, looks like some friendly fire happened here. Germans coming up a couple of 25 points short. History, well, at the very early points, it was a lot of German material here. That started to kind of turn around, though, as the heavier material from the Canadians came onto the pitch. Now, from the Canadian side of things, yep, this Ram 2 did very well, taking out 2 L6s in that Stoke 3. 25-pounder did some good damage. Sherman as well, of course. I mean, you're going to see a lot of work being done by those tanks, because a lot of the stuff from the 3rd Fallschirmjägers are not able to really see them get the job done at the end of the day. Now, losses-wise, yep, L6 did a decent job. But if rather spread around idea here from the 3rd Fallschirmjäger. Regardless, nice swinging game back and forth. Congratulations to Ura Comrades. Bad luck to From Russia with Love. It definitely had me on the edge of my seat. Folks, that's going to do it for me today, though. If you do have a game you want me to check out, email me at conalwargaming@gmail.com. Whether that's a game that you see on the channel already or another one you think I might like to kind of showcase and give you a little more idea of what's going on. But for right now, it's going to be it, and I will see you all soon. This is Conalwork signing off. Take it easy, everybody.